Greetings, dear ones. I am Cryon of Magnetic Service. Is it possible for you to control your future? That is the message that is the second part of a future series of 4 parts. What a question. Is it possible for you to control your own future? There would be those who say it's a dumb question. It's a dumb question because the future isn't here yet. How can you control something that hasn't happened? And then we return to that which we have told you many times before. And that statement we've made so many times before starts to align with some of the higher thinking physicists of today. Time is a construct. It's variable. It's linear for you. But the truth is, in a multidimensional word, one word, it all exists together. That's the word, together. Past, present, future are one thing existing together. That's a multidimensional concept. That's not the one that you received or that you live with. Well, we're aware of that. So it's a puzzling thing, is it not, for you? The whole idea that time may exist all together in one now also is puzzling. Don't try to figure it out. Instead, let's give the answer to the question that I just gave. Is it possible for you to control your future? The answer is yes. Perhaps not in the way you thought. I want to paint a picture for you. A picture that is especially poignant for Americans. I want to take you back to a terrible day, an awful day. But I have to show you something, miracles within that day. The day that the planes hit the towers. You all know what I'm talking about. All of these years removed from that, the stories began to come out. Not exactly the stories that what happened around the towers or in the towers or anything like that. No, it was about those who were not in the towers, who should have been. Story after story. They varied slightly, but they all had one theme. Something kept them from going to work that day. And if you start looking at the stories or you to interview them, they would go like this. I am always a punctual person. I pride myself on being at work on time. I have to get through the New York traffic or take the taxis or whatever or the tubes to get there on time, and I do. I'm proud of that. But this day, well, I just fooled around a little bit too much in the kitchen, and I had to clean something I hadn't necessarily thought I needed to clean before. And I knew it would make me late, but I thought that's okay today. I just needed to do it. It's so unlike me. And then I didn't go when I started watching the television. I missed it. And to this day, I know there was an angel on my shoulder, perhaps, or I sensed something, perhaps, but it's so unlike me. I didn't go. Others will tell very interesting stories of what kept them away that day from walking into death. They would tell you, well, I work on one of the floors. It was above the crash. I wouldn't have made it anyway. They wouldn't have been here. But something kept them away from that. Well, I had to do this or that, and it's a bit unlike me, but I chose to do that. One would say, I took a sick day, and I don't even know why I wasn't sick. I don't know why. It's just something about it that said, don't go. So here is the question for all of you. How could they sense something that hadn't happened yet? Do you think it's possible that the future does, at some level, the energies of it exist in the now? And that perhaps if you're tuned into that, through a magic word I'll give you in a minute, that you can sense what might be coming immediately and dodge the bullet. And what is that magic word? Some of you are way ahead of me. Intuition. Is it possible to develop a higher intuitive power that is a multidimensionality itself that allows you to sense a little of what's coming? There are those who will tell you that they're driving along in their car and they think they must stop for a moment on the side of the road. And those with them, perhaps their children, Mom, why are you stopping? What are we doing? And Mom, if you had to answer that, you'd say, I don't know, honey. I'm just stopping for a moment. And then when you drive forward yet again, when it's safe, you see that what you missed was a giant accident. You would have been in it. How many of you moms have had that happen? I'm seeing hands raised. You just told the future, didn't you? You just controlled your own future because you're alive. That is controlling your future through intuition. That is how it's done. How does one develop an intuition, a power that had the ability to sense the future? If you ask that of anyone, a friend or whatever, they say, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? And I want to tell you, dear ones, that I give you examples of those who have done it. And I'm also telling you that your intuition was designed to keep you out of trouble. Your intuition was designed for you to pick up things. The mother who is asleep in the bedroom wakes up and has an intuitive thought that the infant who is supposed to be asleep needs her. She gets up and walks into the room and finds she's right. The infant is tangled up in a sheet or something and is very uncomfortable. She corrects it and goes back to bed. Thank you, God. What just happened? That is inbred in every mother. That is an intuition that allows you to sense something that is not necessarily happening right there with you. That same intuition is available to sense what might be happening next for you. We have given you pieces and parts of this information for a very long time. I want my partner and his partner, that is the Lee and Monica, to put together a course that would help you to hone your intuitive skills as a light worker, as an old soul, and help you with these senses. And it's not just to sense what's coming, dear ones. It's to sense who you are. It's to sense the angels in the room. Think of that. Is it possible for you to control your future? Now we get into the power of affirmations and positive thinking, and they're related. What if your future consisted of a road never traveled, because you haven't been there yet? But what if I told you that you had a crew who could work on that road so that when you got there, it'd be smooth? Welcome to affirmations. Energy, consciousness that goes in front of you and paves the road so that your future is controllable, and you just did it. It's smoother than it would have been if you hadn't done it. That is an absolute multidimensional tool using the concept of everything being in the now, past, present, future. If your future is in the now, you can work with it. Did you get that? If your future is really in the now, you can work with it. To the extent of working in 4D, you can work with it. You can use the affirmations. You can use that which is yours to hone the intuition to help you to put in front of you a smoother road. Dear Spirit, you might say, today I see all that is before me smoother than it would have been. I give gratitude for what is going to happen. I put in front of me being at the right place at the right time. Dear angels around me, help me through the day. Help me to turn left when I should and right when I should, and not to walk into inappropriate areas of negativity. Thank you. This is your power. This is your legacy. Yes, you can control your future. These are the things that I have been teaching for 34 years. But interestingly enough, they're only starting to be listened to now. Listened to in an actionable way. Listened to with an eye to, yeah, I can do that, instead of it's impossible or it's for masters only. Do you see what's going on this planet? There are tools that are coming to you you've never had before. The biggest, enhanced intuition. What if you had an intuition where you could look at someone on the television who is wanting to be perhaps elected to some post, and you could tell whether they were truthful or not? What if that was within your grasp? Don't you think that might make a difference for the planet? Because it wouldn't just be you. It would be millions of old souls. It would be a human race which was starting to have a far better intuitive idea of who to elect for what post. That would change everything. Can you control your future as a group, as individuals, through enhanced intuition, through the idea that a multidimensionality exists now that can help you in the future, an allowance for these things for you? That's the answer. I am Kryon. I am in love with humanity. Humanity is evolving, dear ones. Light is here. And so it is.
Oh, and following that beautiful message again, beautiful, beautiful message from Kryon, I invite you to bring your awareness back into your body. And if you've had your eyes closed, I invite you to open up your eyes. And this next part of the program, we have a special guest joining us, and truly remarkable, inspirational, uplifting. What a delight that we are joined this evening by Angie Hipple, and I want to make sure that she's on the Zoom feed with us. Angie, are you there?
I'm here, Monica. Lee, it's so great to see you. Thank you for having me.
It is such a pleasure. And for our audience that don't know, Angie has been on many Kryon seminars, our Alaska tour, and she even met her sweetheart on a Kryon adventure.
That happens a lot.
I know, I love it. I love it.
As we reported, it happened with us too.
It did. If it wasn't for Kryon, there'd be no reason for Lee and I to hook up.
That's true. Well, Angie Hipple of the Judah Channel is a passionate seeker, spiritual teacher, and channeler of angels and other interstellar wisdom keepers. I could just stop right there. That's good enough. But some years ago, in a desperate attempt to ease her inner suffering, Angie embarked on an accelerated journey to heal her mind, her body, her emotions, and elevate her personal level of consciousness. Voraciously consuming the teachings of enlightened masters, she actually began, I love this, deconstructing her deep religious programming, let's hear it, folks, and dreaming about the possibilities of enlightenment.
So it was during this season of meditation, ego stripping, and deep surrender. I truly think that is where the magic happens, when you just release, let go, have that deep surrender. That is when Angie was suddenly and unexpectedly, and I love the use of this word, ambushed. It conjures up quite a vision. But she said she was ambushed by a loving, powerful collective of angels called Judah. I mean, how beautiful. And apparently Judah spoke through her in a dramatic, direct voice channeling encounter. And the result of these high vibrational energies created an immediate physical restoration from a 2-year chronic illness. And our side effect, well, it opened up many psychic gifts.
Now you know why we call this Healing Wednesday, because even our guests in their awakening and their enlightenment get a healing besides, and she did. Now Judah and Angie, they tag team, love that word, together to deliver ancient divine wisdom from beyond with practical, real-world application. Together they facilitate tangible experiences of higher dimensional energies for those who are in an awakening and enlightenment process. Many are right now. Her process is, I did it, let's do it together, now you do it. Angie, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you guys. Really a dream come true for us. Thank you for having us.
Well, it's awesome for us as well. And one of the things that we always do every single time is to say, how did this happen? And tell us about the healing and the whole thing. I'm kind of into this channeling thing, and I'm always interested when it happens and how it happens. Give us that, and also we have a little surprise, I think, later as well.
Well, a few years ago, as happens to so many of us, there were some tragic, difficult events in my life, which none of us escapes, right? My father died suddenly. I was an only child, and I was heartbroken over that. And he left me with a family business that was providing for much of my family and some other families. It was a car business. I knew nothing about it. I was busy teaching school and taking care of my 3 kids and volunteering at my church. And I loved to lead worship there. And so anyway, there was a lot thrown on my plate all at once. And a family, one of the employees of the business began embezzling from the business. My marriage began to fall apart. So everything that had kind of worked for me in life just stopped working. And it was really a gift. It was a gift from heaven. It was an awakening for me. And so in the midst of all this difficulty was also, it's like I could smell freedom. I could smell some truth and realization coming to me. I began to question a lot of the things that I had just kind of taken to be true for me in my religious upbringing. I began to rethink, what I felt, thought, believed, how I understood God, all of those things. And so I really began a journey to just let go of everything that wasn't serving me. I began to be really painfully aware of my ego and how it was causing me to suffer and causing harm not only to me, but to the people I love the most. And I really began seeking. I met my new partner, Chuck Hipple, then in that season, and he was so instrumental in my process. And we had such a beautiful gift of spiritual partnership. And our early days together, dating, were listening to Cryon and going to Cryon events. And he was so instrumental in helping me to embrace truth. He had the great privilege of actually living many years with an enlightened being named Osho in his early days. And so all of that was such a benefit to me. And when we got to COVID in 2020, early on in that spring, I contracted COVID and then had a series of unfortunate health consequences from that. And so I'd been chronically ill for 2 years, and Chuck was literally keeping me alive and feeding me with his beautiful acupuncture healing gift that he has. He's a very enlightened healer. And so a couple of times, I made it to death's door. We didn't know if I was going to pull through. But all of this, again, was still a setup. It was more surrender, more meditating, more letting go of what wasn't serving me, and just saying, I don't know, but I'm open. And I sat in a chair literally for almost 2 years. I did very, very little. I was of no benefit to anybody, and just surrendered and meditated and surrendered and meditated some more. And towards the end of that time, Chuck and I were sitting on the couch one night watching a beautiful channeler, very much like Cryon. And he turned and he looked at me and he said, you could do that. And I thought, okay. Well, channeling wasn't really on my bucket list, but I'm open for anything at this point. I wouldn't say no to anything. I'm just glad to be alive and breathing, and channeling is probably something I could do while I'm sitting in my chair.
And I love that you had permission to go, why not?
Yeah.
I think that was the setup.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm just sitting here anyway, not feeling well. Let's go for it.
Let's go.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so, that night, I had the most profound experience during the night. At that time, we were waiting for my third grandchild to be born. And I had been really sad because I wasn't going to be able to be there for the birth because I wasn't well enough. So that was another letting go for me. But that night, during the night, I had the most profound experience. Judah came to me. I actually felt this little baby as if it was in my body, in my womb. I felt his little head pushing down on my pelvic floor. I felt my womb contracting. It was as if I was the mother and not the grandmother. And I could feel his sweet little spirit talking to me, telling me that he was a higher dimensional being, why he was coming to Earth, what he wanted to bring to the Earth during this time. And he is such a treasure. His name is Ember, and he was like an ember or a spark of life in such a difficult time for all of us. And so the next day I woke up and I sat down to type up this profound message. And as I began typing, Judah began speaking through me again and telling me all about themselves. So Chuck came home from work that night, and obviously I was so excited. You won't believe what happened to me. And I read the first channel to him, and we said, well, we sat down on the couch and said, well, let's meditate and maybe they'll come through. And sure enough, this big, huge voice came through with this beautiful, loving message. And Chuck and I feel so privileged. I mean, almost every night for the last 2 years, we sit together on the couch and just let Judah bring through this beautiful energy. And we feel so thrilled and so honored. And of course, we immediately started giving it away, because what do you do, right? You can't, when you're given a treasure, you can't put it in a box and sit on the lid. You have to give away what you've been given. And it's just been an amazing journey. And now we have a global family that's thriving. We have friends all over the world that tune in with us every week and receive these free channels. And Judah, made it clear from the beginning, they're not here to hook you up with your soulmate necessarily, or give you the winning lottery numbers or anything like that. They are here to help us on our awakening and enlightenment journey. And boy, they really do it. They pull out the stops and they help us clear blocks and old thinking and ways of being that aren't serving us, and help us to just bump up our level of consciousness into that next level. And sometimes when we get in the room with them, the levels of consciousness go up in those 800 ranges, and we just get stoned, God stoned. Chuck and I were saying the other day, I think we might have to hire a driver for some of these events because we're having a hard time getting around.
Absolutely. So I have a question about how can we embrace the truth of that fact that through Cryon and obviously through Judah, and they're showing us enlightenment is who we are. It's not something that has to be
We don't have to climb stairs to get to something we already own.
Yeah, so tell us more about that.
How do we embrace that?
Yeah. Well, our enlightened state, we're like a beautiful, exquisite, one-of-a-kind antique this is our enlightened state, but we've just been covered over with all these layers and layers and layers of paint, and now we're on the front yard in a garage sale, right? And we've forgotten, we don't realize how valuable we are. So for me, it's been a process of stripping away what's not God, stripping away what's not the enlightened being, to discover, yes, there really is an enlightened person in there. Society tells us that we have to work harder, that we have to do more, add on something, be more in order to attain whatever it is that we want, or that we have to take away or strip away something that's not working to be successful. And so we can tend to overlay that whole idea onto our spiritual process. And we think, well, I've got to add on something. I've got to meditate more. I've got to do more of this or less of that, more of my spiritual practice, less TV, or, whatever ideas we have. And the truth is, we are a piece of God. We are a fractal of God. The fractal of God that Judah is, the fractal of God that Kryon is enough to support the whole universe. We have really no concept about how powerful we are. And Judah's always saying, yeah, we're a group of angels. And yes, are we enlightened and powerful? Yes, but so are you. So are you. And it makes me think of that scripture where Jesus said, you are children of God, you're sons of God, and you are like the angels. And so Judah's always reminding me, but yeah, you're an angel too. You're like an angel. You are a child of God. You are the essence of God in the earth, and you are evolving into your angelic state. You're learning to embody it, to embrace it, to be it.
It's almost like we've had amnesia. And
it's
now,
very much like that.
Yeah, and now the amnesia is kind of dissolving, and everyone's waking up going, oh my goodness, we're a piece of God. You're a piece of God. How beautiful. I would love it if you feel open that we could hear from Judah. Do you think that's possible?
Absolutely. I would love to let Judah come through. Hello, dear Lee and Monica and Kryon family. What a joy to be with you. You are a blessing in the earth, each and every one. You are a blessing in the earth. As you are listening, even in this moment, we want to give you our thanks and gratitude for, you see, you are a placeholder. You are like unto a cell tower. You are receiving, sending and receiving, sending and receiving, sending and receiving the messages and energies of heaven. Each and every one of you are bringing heaven to earth through embodying your God-like state, your enlightened state. And so remember, yes, dear, as Monica has said here, wake up and remember that you are glorious, you are powerful. The fractal of God that you are in the earth can change and shift your atmosphere, your inner atmosphere, the atmosphere of your home, the atmosphere of your workplace, of your city, of your nation, of the whole earth. Begin to see your light emanation expanding and expanding and expanding to cover the whole earth. You are a delight. You are a delight. There's nothing about you that is a turn off to us. Where you are, how you are at this part and moment of your journey is perfect in our eyes. You are perfection itself. Love and embrace every bit of yourself exactly as you are, no matter what you're feeling today, whether you're the lowest of the low or the highest of the high. We are with you. We are here to support and encourage you. We angels, such as ourselves and the dear Kryon and all the holy archangels, we are empowering you. We are your power tools to cut through what doesn't serve you, to get rid of what doesn't serve you. We are the power tools that will cut and clear until you see there you are, your beautiful God self. You are a glory in the earth. Yes, you are evolving even into an angelic state like unto ours. We are simply your big brothers and sisters who are showing you the way. Through us, you can understand this vicarious learning. For you may be much like this vessel. Maybe you had suffered much at the hands of life, at the hands of egoic conditioning and so on. But we would say to you, there is an easier way. There is an easier way. It is called vicarious learning. You see, when this vessel had 3 children and her youngest would watch the older ones doing certain things that didn't turn out so well for them, doing things that led them to suffering or punishment or some unwanted outcome. And as she saw that, she said to herself in her inner being, oh, I don't think I'll do that. I don't think I'll go that way. And because of that, she was able to learn and avoid suffering. And so we are like that for you, dear ones. We are your big brothers and sisters. We are showing you how to be in your enlightened God state and how to be connected with all that is and accept everything going on in your environment, in your day-to-day life, as exactly as it should be, and surrendering unto the will of Source. And so you can avoid this suffering and then begin to simply learn with wisdom from us. Yes. So it is our delight and honor. We give great respect to Kryon and to all who serve, Wherever you are a channel of life and love and glory and goodness. And think nothing of any other thought that comes to you about yourself. You are grace. You are goodness. We embrace every part of you and who you are with all love and joy. Yes. And we give you our blessing from the top of our head to the bottom of your feet. Yes. May your year be full of bliss and goodness. Thank you, Jada.
Oh my goodness.
I hope you all paid attention to this. Did you notice something about this channeling? It's one of the things we teach. Uplifting, joyful, filled with hope. There's nothing being asked for you to do other than join the party. So this is
join the party.
This is right. This is Spirit giving what Spirit does. And that is, you're a piece of the Creator. And that is a joyful piece. And so, let's get with it, basically. So I love